All right, so listeners, today we're taking a deep dive into something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I've got this pile of documents about something called Veteran Team House.
Oh, yeah, I looked those over.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. There's program outlines, like they've really thought this through flyers. Even a proposal asking for funding.
Ambitious.
Very ambitious. And it makes you wonder, what's driving this? What makes this so important?
Well, the more I dig into this stuff,
Yeah.
the more I see them trying to tackle veteran suicide rates, but like
It
in a
is-
really unique way.
That's serious stuff.
Yeah,
So what is it about this Veteran Team House that makes it stand out from
right.
all the other veteran support organizations out there?
It seems like it all boils down to understanding what happens when someone leaves the military.
Oh, okay.
It's a huge transition. Think about it.
Right.
You go from this totally tight-knit group, super purpose-driven world,
Mm-hmm.
your life literally descends on your team, and then
Goof.
you're on your own. They actually call it a loss of team ethos in these documents.
Huh. I never thought about it that way.
It's a big deal.
It's not just about missing your buddies.
Right.
It's losing that whole support system.
Exactly.
The purpose, the feeling of belonging.
Yeah. And there's this quote that really stood out to me. It says, "When they leave the service, there are no teams outside."
Wow.
Imagine that feeling like you've lost your purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe even your identity.
It's heartbreaking.
It can be devastating, for sure.
So how does Veteran Team House actually address that? What are they doing differently?
Well, they're taking that whole team thing pretty literally.
Okay.
They want to create local team houses where veterans can work together,
Right.
but on community projects.
Okay.
So it's about recreating that structure and camaraderie,
Okay. I like that.
but in a way that gives back.
Yeah. Instead of just focusing on what's been lost,
Right.
it's about using those skills and experiences for something positive.
That's the idea.
I am liking this already.
Yeah.
Tell me more about these team houses. What's it like inside?
So they ran this pilot program in McDonough, Georgia,
Okay.
called the Veteran Support Group, VSG.
Okay.
And we actually have some pretty detailed info on that.
Perfect. Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Mm.
What does a team house actually look like?
Well, this VSG Team House, it provided a whole range of services, helping veterans with the VA system support groups,
Okay.
job counseling. They even had a food and clothing bank.
Wow. So it's like,
A one-stop shop.
yeah, a one-stop shop for support. I bet just having that place to go
Right.
to be around other veterans
Mm-hmm.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and here's a key thing. The VSG staff, all veterans themselves,
Amazing.
peer-to-peer support at its core.
Who better to understand what a veteran is going through
Right.
than another veteran?
Exactly. But get this. These documents keep mentioning something called the Veteran Match Metaverse.
A metaverse.
Yeah, so it's more than just physical houses.
Hold on. Is this like a
It's a digital platform.
virtual reality thing for veterans?
Kind of. Think of it as a way to connect veterans across the country,
Okay.
no matter where they live.
Like an online community where they can all
Exactly.
get together. That's amazing.
Right.
What can they actually do on this platform, though?
It's like a central hub for anything veteran-related. You can find resources, connect with other veterans, even search for businesses offering discounts or jobs.
Wow, they really thought of everything. Taking that team ethos
Right.
and bringing it into the digital world.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. But
Yeah, all this sounds expensive.
it does, doesn't it?
How do they pay for all this?
They have this thing they call a triad approach laid out in the funding proposal.
Okay, a triad. I'm really curious.
It's interesting.
Break it down for me. How are they planning to keep this whole thing afloat financially?
So picture it like a pyramid.
Okay.
At the top, you have the national nonprofit. They call it the mothership.
The mothership, I like that.
Yeah, and their job is program development and fundraising at the national level.
Okay, so they're like central command.
Yeah.
Making sure everything runs smoothly. Bring in the big bucks.
Exactly. Then on the ground level,
Yeah.
they're partnering with regional charities like
Okay.
the American Legion to actually set up and run the team houses.
Smart. So
Yeah.
they're not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
They're working with organizations that already have a presence in those communities.
Exactly. And then at the very base of the pyramid,
Okay,
you have the local team houses themselves, run by veterans.
got it.
And they might partner with local groups too,
Yeah.
churches, community centers, that kind
Okay.
of thing.
So it's this multi-layered approach
Right.
with each level playing a crucial role.
Yeah, and to make it even more sustainable,
Yeah.
they've got a tiered donation system. Donors can choose where their money goes, national level, a specific region, or even a particular team house.
So you can really get granular with it.
Exactly.
That's a good idea. Gives donors more choice and control.
And hopefully encourages more people to give.
Definitely. So we've got the structure, the logistics all figured out.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine.
But at the end of the day,
Right.
it all comes back to that initial problem, veteran suicide.
You can't forget that.
No, we can't. So how does all of this, all these moving parts, actually translate into saving lives?
It's a good question.
How do they address this complex issue
Right.
of veteran suicide?
It seems like they're trying to take a preventative approach,
Yeah.
address
So-
the root causes.
I like that. So instead of just reacting to a crisis,
Right.
they're trying to build something that stops it from happening in the first place.
Exactly.
But how does that actually work?
Well, by combating that isolation and giving them that sense of purpose back, it helps them avoid that downward spiral that can lead to homelessness or even those suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, it's like weaving a safety net, but instead of just social services, it's built on community and purpose. And with that digital platform, they can stay connected.
Absolutely. It's huge.
24/7. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic.
Sure.
There are going to be challenges.
Oh, definitely. This all sounds great in theory, but there are always bumps in the road.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what kind of obstacles do you see them facing?
Well, one big one is scalability.
Okay.
Can this model be replicated in different communities across the country?
Right, because what works in McDonough, Georgia,
Exactly.
might not work in a big city or a rural area.
And even finding the right locations for these team houses.
Yeah.
If they're aiming for those historic homes or larger spaces, that's a real estate challenge, not to mention the cost.
Definitely. And then there's the funding piece.
Oh, yeah.
That triad approach is interesting, but can they really get consistent funding
It's a lot to juggle.
from national nonprofits and regional charities and the local donations?
It's ambitious, for sure.
It is. It's a competitive landscape out there.
Yeah.
They're going to have to prove themselves
Right. They need to show results.
to keep that money coming in.
Exactly. Tangible results, like a decrease in suicide rates or improvements in veterans' well-being.
Which brings up another challenge.
Right.
Patience.
Oh, absolutely.
Both from the people running the program
Yeah.
and the veterans themselves.
You're right. Building trust takes time,
It does.
especially with veterans who might have been let down before.
Yeah, they might be thinking, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Exactly. And it's not just about showing up for a meeting or two.
Right.
This program is asking for active participation,
Yeah.
taking on responsibilities, contributing to the community.
Which honestly might be exactly what some veterans are craving.
You're right.
But for others,
It could be overwhelming.
yeah, especially if they're dealing with PTSD or other mental health issues.
Absolutely. It's a delicate balance.
For sure. And that really highlights the importance of having the right staff at these team houses.
Yeah, the staff is key.
People who are not only compassionate, but also equipped to handle those really complex situations.
Right. People who get it.
Yeah, who can connect with veterans on a personal level, but who also understand the nuances of mental health substance abuse.
Right. All those challenges that come up.
Finding and keeping those staff members, if funding is limited, could be tough.
It's a hurdle for sure.
So we've got location challenges, funding challenges, staffing challenges.
It's a lot.
What about the digital side of things?
Right.
The veteran match metaverse. That seems like a whole other can of worms.
Definitely. Building and maintaining a complex digital platform like that.
Yeah.
It takes time, money, and expertise.
And you have to make sure it's accessible to everyone.
That's crucial.
Not all veterans are tech savvy
You're right.
or have good internet access, especially in rural areas.
Right. Bridging that digital divide is going to be huge.
Okay, so location funding, staffing, and digital access.
Yeah.
It's starting to feel like this whole thing is doomed to fail.
No, not at all. Challenges are a part of any big endeavor. Don't forget the scale of the problem we're talking about. 22 veterans dying by suicide every day.
Every day, yeah.
If Veteran Team House can save even a fraction of those lives,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
It is. It's worth fighting for. So let's flip the script here.
Okay.
We've talked about the potential downsides. What are the opportunities? What excites you about this initiative?
Well, one thing that's really promising is the emphasis on collaboration.
Okay.
Partnering with organizations like the American Legion is great, but I see even more potential for expanding that network.
You mean bringing in businesses?
Exactly.
Universities, government agencies?
Yeah, get everyone working together to support veterans.
I like that. Imagine businesses offering job training or apprenticeships, universities providing scholarships, or specialized degree programs.
And government agencies connecting them with housing assistance or mental health resources.
It would create this incredible web of support.
Right.
Everyone contributing what they do best.
And that's so much more effective than any one organization trying to do it all.
It is. But I'm also really intrigued by that digital platform.
Yeah, the Metaverse.
If they can really build a thriving online community.
It could be a game changer.
Yeah. It could be a powerful tool for advocacy and social change.
Think about it. Veterans from all over the country.
Yeah.
Connecting, sharing their stories, raising awareness about the issues they face.
That's a voice that people will have to listen to.
Exactly. And it could lead to new solutions coming directly from the veterans themselves.
Right, because they're a diverse group with so much to offer.
Absolutely. Harnessing that collective wisdom and creativity, the possibilities are endless.
Okay, so we've got collaboration and digital innovation.
Two big ones.
As major opportunities. But what about the individual veterans?
Right.
How do they benefit from all of this?
Well, we talked about that sense of purpose and belonging and the access to resources.
Right.
But I think there's also a huge potential for personal growth.
Yeah, like helping veterans rediscover their strengths and passions.
Exactly. They can learn new skills, build confidence through community involvement, and create those meaningful relationships with other veterans.
So it's about creating a space where they can heal and grow and thrive.
Exactly. It's not just about addressing the problem of suicide.
Right.
It's about empowering them to live fulfilling lives.
And that benefits everyone.
It does. Their families, their communities, society as a whole.
It's a ripple effect.
But to truly make a difference, we need to understand the veterans themselves.
Oh, that's a good point.
Hey.
We've looked at the program, the challenges, the opportunities, but we haven't really heard from the veterans.
And that's what we'll explore in the final part of this deep dive.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with this Veteran Team House initiative.
We have.
The approach, the challenges, the opportunities. But now it's time to hear from the most important voices.
Absolutely.
The veterans themselves.
Right. And even though we don't have direct interviews in these sources, we can still get a sense of their experiences and what they need.
Okay, so let's read between the lines here.
Let's do it.
What can we learn about what veterans are really looking for?
Well, one thing that jumps out is just how difficult that transition to civilian life can be.
Yeah, it's not just about finding a new job.
It's a whole identity shift.
We touched on this earlier.
Right.
But it's worth repeating. Going from this structured, mission-driven world to something that can feel chaotic and aimless.
It's a huge adjustment.
It is. And that sense of loss.
It's real.
Those sources talk about the brotherhood.
Yeah.
The team ethos.
Yeah.
How central that is to military life.
It's not something you can easily find elsewhere.
Which makes you wonder, is that why Veteran Team House is so focused on community?
It makes sense, right?
Trying to recreate that sense of belonging.
Yeah, but in a new context.
Exactly. But we also have to remember that veterans are not a monolith.
Of course not.
They have different backgrounds, experiences, needs.
Absolutely. Some are thriving.
Yeah.
Others are struggling with PTSD or just trying to make ends meet.
A one-size-fits-all approach just won't cut it.
It won't. This program has to be flexible.
Yeah.
Adaptable, responsive to each individual veteran.
The most successful team houses will be the ones that truly listen.
I think so.
To the veterans they serve. So thinking back to that pilot program in McDonough.
Yeah.
What did their success tell us about what veterans are looking for?
Well, the fact that it was run by veterans themselves seems crucial.
There's just that instant understanding, that shared experience. It's like saying, I get you. I've been there.
Exactly. And they offered such a wide range of services.
They did.
VA help, job counseling, even a food bank.
A holistic approach.
Yeah, meeting those practical needs alongside the emotional ones.
Because it's hard to focus on your mental health when you're worried about where your next meal is coming from.
It's true. It's about creating that safe, supportive environment where they can address all aspects of their well-being.
And it's about empowering them.
Absolutely.
Not just giving handouts.
It's a partnership.
Yeah, recognizing that veterans aren't just passive recipients of help.
Right.
They have so much to offer.
Exactly. They have skills, talents, experiences.
Which brings us back to that idea of purpose. Being part of something bigger than yourself. The Veteran Team House model seems to get that.
It does. But there's another interesting insight here.
Okay.
The fact that they created that veteran match metaverse tells me that veterans are also looking for connection
Yeah.
beyond their local communities.
That ability to connect with other veterans across the country.
Yeah, share experiences, find resources.
Bridge those gaps that isolation can create.
It's huge, especially for veterans who might not live near a team house.
Right. Or in a community with a strong veteran presence.
That online community could be a lifeline.
It all comes down to feeling seen and heard.
It does.
Feeling understood by people who've walked in your shoes.
Exactly. And what I really appreciate about all of this is that it's not just about meeting veterans' needs.
It's about recognizing their strengths.
Yes. This isn't about fixing broken people.
Right.
It's about empowering, resilient, resourceful individuals
Who have so much to contribute.
And the Veteran Team House Initiative seems to understand that.
Yeah, creating spaces for veterans to rediscover their purpose, rebuild their lives, make a real difference.
It's a powerful vision.
But the real test is in the implementation.
Right.
Can they actually build a program that puts veterans at the center?
That's the question.
That's responsive to their needs on every level.
Yeah.
That's what we'll have to wait and see.
We will. The stakes are high.
They are. We're talking about saving lives.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this question. If you were a veteran, what would you want to see in a support system? What would make you feel valued, understood, empowered?
Share your thoughts with us online using #VeteranTeamHouse.
Yeah, we've got links in the show notes if you want to learn more or get involved.
This is a conversation that needs to continue.
We need to keep talking about veteran suicide, exploring solutions, and most importantly, supporting those who've served our country. Thanks for joining us on this Top Dive. Let's keep the conversation going.